Hello everyone, my name is TurboTony19 and yes, I'm going to be doing a series here of career mode on FIFA 13 and which club am I going to take control of here? I decided that I was going to go with Aston Villa. They're kind of like a mid-table now they're kind of scrapping for relegation in the Premier League. I thought if I was going to bring a team up from the utter mediocrity of Aston Villa and bring them up to maybe a championship or a title or something like that, that Aston Villa would be the one to do it with. And yeah, so we're going straight here now, and so we're going to name our manager. And I thought really there's only one person that could one ruthless businessman that could really turn Aston Villa from where they are now into superstars, global phenomenons, and that man was Ronald McDonald. Let's face it, look, he made McDonald's such a crazy franchise. They earned so much money, and realistically, for him to be able to put that into Aston Villa, it can really only do well for them, So yeah, so yeah, Ronald McDonald is now the new manager, and it breaks on Sky Sports News. Paul Lambert, he's gone. They signed him, sacked him immediately. Don't really know what they were doing there, but McDonald is the new boss. Might rise a few eyebrows if he comes in feeding his guys, chicken McNuggets and all that crap, but it doesn't really matter. So yeah, Mr. McDonald, he's now the new Aston Villa manager. And one of the first things that really I was thinking of when I was going through this was to have a look at the Villa team. I really don't know much about the Villa team. I know they've got Darren Bent, I know they've got Benteke, who's been playing pretty well, Agbonlahor. But yeah, I didn't know how well their team really fares on FIFA, so I was hoping that that would have a good team. But as it seems to turn out, their team is utter shit. I don't really know what the hell they're doing with their two wing backs, their right back, left back, but they were just shocking, and they weren't going to cut up to par. Yeah, sure, they got Benteke, but Ben wasn't even in the front squad. He wasn't even in the subs. He was in the reserves. But yeah, I put him straight back into that squad. He needs to be in there, especially with his acceleration, finishing. He's probably the best player that Villa have got, and I need him in that team really to be able to score some goals for me, and just try and I don't want to be caught in like a relegation scrap or anything like that. So yeah, Ben straight back in there, and I decided that I needed to change the formation. It wasn't working. I need Benteke, I need Ben, I need both of them in there. So I thought a good old 4-4-2 wide diamond formation was the best. I played that a lot on previous games, and it works, especially if the two wide men are really fast, really good. And so yeah, I've got Agbonlahor on the left. I thought that would probably be the best place for him at the moment. I decided to keep Ireland in the team. He used to be a Man City player, and I'm a Man City fan, if you guys don't know anything along those lines. But yeah, Ireland, I thought, keep him in there. He's probably the best kind of creative midfielder in that position that I've got. Yeah, and I was jiggling around the team a little bit, and I'm not really impressed with this team. They've got a lot of young talent, but their starting 11 is pretty poor, really, and I think a lot of their overalls don't really reflect how good they are. I mean, Brad Guzan is a great goalkeeper, and Albrighton I think he's better than a 72 ranked player, considering how well he played last season. But yeah, I needed to go straight into that transfer list, and there was a few players that I wanted to get in. One of them is Mayuka. I'm playing Southampton on my main account. Yeah, and he's a great player. His acceleration is absolutely insane. He can beat players all over the place and just absolutely storm past them. So he was a player that I definitely wanted. And like I said, I'm playing on my wife's gamer tag. That's why you probably see that, the Shalimar Bagoo on the bottom right. But yeah, I do normally play on my own account, but I thought I've already got like 2 different seasons on my other account. I thought it just so I don't accidentally save over one of them or anything like this, especially as this is going to be going on my channel, that I'd put it on my wife's account, and she's never going to play it really. So but yeah, so Mayuka, I thought I might as well give him one of my players that I want to get rid of, Southampton anyway, and try and get Mayuka in. He would be a fantastic. I thought he'd be great on the left flank. I know he's a striker, but his acceleration makes him just so devastating on the wing. And I've already got 2 very good strikers as it is. So yeah, that was my first choice. And there's another guy that I normally go for, and that's Freddie Sears. He used to play for West Ham, but yeah, he is an absolute beastly little player, and while his stats aren't fantastic, he really is a good player, and I've actually got him, like I said, on my other season, and he scores goals left and right. And I'm playing him as a midfielder, and he's just so good. And I play him in the Premiership, and yeah, he's good stuff. And if you want a cheap player, he's definitely one that you want to look out for. So yeah, I've got those 2 bids in. I decided to go and search around, 5 million tops, and Puyol was in there. I thought maybe going for him. I know he's getting on a little bit, but he's a beastly player in this game. The only thing that put me off maybe was the high wage bill, and that would be pretty much all my money gone on a defensive player. Which I think that the central defensive players for Aston Villa aren't too bad. Don't really bother, want to spending too much money to shore up that. It's the midfield and the wings that I really need to work on there. But yeah, found Nesta for free, and I thought, yeah, he's old and he's probably going to be retiring, but an 82 player on free, I cannot say anything about that. Put offer of nothing in for him because he's up on for free. So yeah, I put that in there, and I thought if I can snap him up for free, that's a great deal, and someone I can use as a rotating player, and one to put in those big games because he has a higher rank than my other 2 centre backs. So that was a good choice. And a lot of these players that are coming up on this list were ones that are quite old, and any of the younger ones, obviously, because they're young, they're more expensive. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of hard really to find, especially with Aston Villa's budgets. They only got 9 million to start off with. So yeah, it's a little bit awkward finding those players. I thought maybe putting a bid in for a Shavin, but nah, I didn't really want to, considering how he's been. Yeah, I thought maybe put it in for Richards, Man City homeboy of mine. Yeah, but in the end of the day, I decided not to go for him. Maybe a bit too pricey. I wanted to bring in a few players for the money that I had, and a lot of these players were really tipping the 5 million budget. And I know that City wouldn't let him go for cheap either, which is the other thing. But yeah, a lot of these players, they're good players, but I just didn't want to expel all my money on these guys. But then I saw Jose Enrique for quite cheap, really, and I thought, just put a bid in for him. He's a good player. He's one of those players that, pretty good getting forward, and that's how I like to do. I like to get my, my wings forward and just really go through. And this guy, Juan Fran, he came up as well from Real Madrid. I thought, he's cheap, he's young, he's a 69 ranked player for that age. Someone that I could really use. So yeah, I put in the bid for him, and hopefully we can get him as well. But yeah, that was pretty much all them. And my next thought really for this was to try and trim the fat of this god awful Aston Villa team. If you're an Aston Villa fan, I apologise. Your team isn't that bad really in real life. Just on FIFA, just awful. Mr. Handball for Man City, Richard Dunn, I had to put him on the transfer list. I'm not going to use him. He's getting on, and I really don't want him to be sent off or giving own goal. He's just an own goal machine, Richard Dunn, really. So yeah, there was a few other players that I really wanted to get rid of. There's a lot of young players that I don't know if I'm going to utilise or anything, so I was a bit awkward trying to get rid of them. But yeah, we got a few. We've got the season objectives here from the board. They want me to get mid-table, which I guess is respectable. I guess I could do that. And in the cup, they want me to get quarter-final. I think maybe we could get there, especially with the FA Cup and the League Cup, and get everything from there. So yeah, I think it's doable, and it's something that I can eventually go through. So yeah, they're the main sort of talking points of what I'm being told to by the board to basically go forward and accomplish. And I think we can do that. Hopefully we can do a bit more. Turns out Sears has just joined Colchester, and they're not interested in selling him. I thought I'd put an improved price on him, and you're thinking, wow, that's probably a lot more than what they're asking, but he is a good player, and I have used him before. I know how best to use Sears. So yeah, putting another bid in for him, and hopefully we can tempt him away from Colchester. It's a big chance. Come to Aston Villa. That's a big thing. But yeah, we're getting in a few rejected bids here. Enrique is not going to come to the club. He's too valuable. I decided not to put in a bid for him. But Juan Fran, we can actually get him. He's been accepted by Real Madrid, and his wages aren't that much at all. He's quite young. He's a right midfield. I know all Brighton plays in that area, but I want to bring in my own team. Really, I want to have my own players, and then, Juan Fran seems like one of those guys that I could really boost up his overall stats and see how we go from there. So yeah, put in the contract for him. I expect he'll sign. Everything. I thought, we need to go through a few other players. Nelson Oliveira is one of those players that I have used before, and he is a class player. He's one of those players that can really beat his marker and really create chances. So yeah, I thought I'd inquire about him, see if there's any chance of maybe getting him into the squad. The thing is with this, with the budget I've got to be really sort of crafty with my transfers. I can't pay out too much money on one transfer. I really need to be careful about how I'm kind of shoring up my transfers, how I'm going from there. But yeah, looking on, there's another guy here, Juan Manuel Vargas. Inquire about him. Yet again, he's another player that I've used before. Hopefully I could bring him into the team. Clichy is an absolute beast on the left wing. I wanted him a lot, and if I couldn't get him, then Leighton Baines, another beast on the left back position. I thought if I can't get Clichy, then there might be a chance I could get him, so I put in an offer for both of them, and hopefully we can pick up one of those two players, because they are beastie left backs, and they are very good, and it's one of those sort of positions that I need to shore up really. And Thiago Motta, he's another player that I liked. He's not young. He's 29, but he's 81 overrated, and he's in that central defensive midfield that I feel like I need to shore up. I need to help those centre backs from getting those shots coming in. And like I said, I do apologise for the first episode. It's pretty much all transfers because I needed new players in. And please leave a comment if there's any players that you want me to try and get. But this is one big player that I wanted. He's been all over the headlines about if he's going to go Ivory Coast or England for his thing. But Wilfred Zaha, he's a great right winger, and if I could bring him in, he would really shore up the squad. He's young as well. He's the overall 73 for a 19-year-old. He's going to be hopefully early 90s over a couple of seasons if he gets in a few goals, and he does. He is good. I have used him before, and he's got a good shot on him. So yeah, put in the bid for him, and I put Richard Dunn in as extras just to get rid of him. I don't want Richard Dunn in the squad. Yeah, he's good, but he's just own goal central. But yeah, it turns out Mayuka, there's no chance of him coming to the club. He's just joined, and they're asking a lot of money for him. I did try and put in a new bid, but I'm just going to tell you now, nah, he's not coming to the club. They really were stamping down, and it's a shame because he's such a good player and he's got such good acceleration. Turns out Vargas is on loan, so not going to have him. So yeah, that's a little bit of a shame. We got a bid in though for Richard Dunn, and I wasn't even going to bother counter offering it. And I stalled it there. I don't know why. But on the whole, a bid came in for him. I thought, if I am going to sell this guy, because I do want to bring in my own players, and he is third choice striker really, that I was going to bump it up a little bit. I still want him at the club because he's got really good acceleration. But yeah, if I'm going to sell him, I'm at least going to get an extra $1 million for him. So yeah, I put the counter offer in, and I'm kind of hoping a little bit that we do get to sell him. But yeah, we get a few comebacks here, and yes, Juan Fran, he accepts, and he is in the squad. He is our first signing, and immediately I'm going to put him straight in. But like I said, Colchester, they're not interested with Sears. He's just joined the club, and yeah, both of my choices for left back decide that they ain't going to go for cheap, and especially Baines. I mean, he's a great player, but I just don't have the money to bring him in for that price. He's such a good player, and it's just such a shame. And with Motta as well, I seem to be having a lot of problems bringing in these players for the amount that they are. And I tried bringing a different player here just to go through, and I was looking through the list of players, and there's a lot of players that I want to get rid of here at Aston Villa's team. There was a few of them he didn't want to go for, you know, the player that I'd given him before, but I thought maybe if I give him a higher class player, I really wanted a central defensive midfielder just to shore up, just to defend, you know, that area of the pitch. But I thought Stilian Petrov, you know, put him in. He's a great player, and you know, it's such a shame to hear, you know, he's having problems health-wise. I hope he's getting better. I don't know what's going on with that, but put him in there, and hopefully that we can get some news. Oliveira is not up for grabs, so I'm just having loads of problems just getting this in. I thought I'd put Juan Fran straight into the team for Agbonlahor. He's not a right midfielder really, Agbonlahor, so put Juan Fran in, and we'll hopefully he can become a really good player for us. He doesn't have great acceleration, he doesn't have, like, all in all great stats, but he's a great overall player that I think that we could get a lot out of. But yeah, it turns out that apparently it's not enough for Zaha, and I decided to really break the bank. This is one guy that I think could really make us a lot of money in the future. Keep him for a couple of seasons, his overall's going to go up. But yeah, if you've got any other ideas of who you want to for me to buy, then please let me know. I'll be more than happy to try and get these transfers in. In the next episode, I do go in for a few matches. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and please leave it a like.
Gears from the battle, are they the gears of war? Did you like that? Did you like the little play on words?
Yeah, it was quite good. Yeah.
Yeah, did you like it? Yeah. I thought.